Hello and welcome to Out of My Mind. My name is Robison Wells. I was recently asked to be a sensitivity reader on a book where there was one character with OCD and one character with schizophrenia, two problems that I have. Because none of you know who the book is by or who the publisher even is or when the book will be coming out or what it's called, I thought that I would talk about some of the broader issues that came up in this sensitivity reading. If you are a writer, writing about these things, this could be very useful to you. Or if you are just a person who deals with people who have these problems, these could be useful to you. Number one, the main character is institutionalized, but we never really see why. Being institutionalized is a big deal. It is expensive, insurance doesn't like to pay for it, and so you have to really, really need it. Reasons that you would need it are that you are a threat to yourself or others, that you are intensely sick, and that medication and therapy are not helping, that you are very wealthy and that you can afford it, or maybe it is mandated by the courts that you be there. All of these are reasons why you would be institutionalized. Number two, I'm actually writing a book right now about a schizophrenic main character, and even though I have schizophrenia, I still fall into this trap. And the trap is that mental illness is more than a list of symptoms. OCD is more than counting your steps and tics and germophobia, and schizophrenia is more than just seeing things that aren't real. Psychology Today wrote a great article about the TV show Monk, and it says that jokes are fine and necessary, but what we see about Monk is a list of phobias and a list of tics and a list of odd behaviors, but what we don't see is his spiral of madness and existential dread that accompany OCD. The article goes on to say, I have no problem with jokes about OCD, but I do have a problem with entertainment that permits audiences to laugh at the disorder without showing them the terror and despair and shame and self-loathing that OCD sufferers endure. I think that the book that I read ignored that aspect of it. I think that the book that I'm writing very often ignores that aspect of it. It's so easy to get caught up on, they see a ghost, they see a person who isn't really there, and it's very hard to say, oh, this person has a spiral of madness and existential dread and terror and self-loathing and shame. All right, number four, let's talk about medicine. Going off of medicine is something that happens a lot in shows. Think of A Beautiful Mind. We have a character who has dealt with hallucinations. He's been seeing things that aren't real, seeing people that aren't real, and he decides to go off of his medication because he doesn't like the side effects. This is a normal thing. A lot of people want to go off of their medicine because of side effects. But it is something different than just, I am not seeing something because the medicine is blocking the hallucinations, so I stop taking the medicine and then I do see something. What really happens is I am not seeing something because I have my medication. I stop taking my medication and all of a sudden I can't sleep, I can't eat, I throw up, I have sweats. There are so many. Psychotropic medicine messes with you so much that you can't simply go off of medicine and your symptoms return. You go off of medicine very, very slowly. A doctor will taper you down over the course of a month or 6 weeks to take you off of a medicine by cutting pills in halves and in quarters to get it to the right level. Okay, number five, this could go either way, but I want to bring it up. And this is the issue of schizophrenia being violent. Schizophrenic people are very sensitive to the idea that schizophrenia equals violence. And rightly they should be, because I think people have an a natural fear of people with schizophrenia. And I think that this is caused by the media's portrayal of it. And if you watch Criminal Minds, half the characters, half the villains are schizophrenic, and they all are mass murderers. Yes, it is true that people with schizophrenia are higher than the average person to commit violent acts, but it is actually because of the fact that schizophrenic people are more likely to self-medicate with drugs and alcohol. If you compensate for your research in, is this person taking drugs and alcohol, then there's really no difference between a schizophrenic person and a neurotypical person in terms of violence. There is a difference in suicide. People who have schizophrenia are 10% more likely to commit suicide than the average population. Anyway, despite the fact that I have all of these things to say about this book, the book that I read was really fascinating, and I love the fact that books about mental illness are starting to come more frequently, and that they are better. And this is actually a really good book. It just had some issues. Like I said, my own book that I'm writing, and I am dealing with this, my own book has issues. It is something that is hard to write about. But I love the fact that these books are being written. That is all that I have for today. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next week.